I'd like to welcome you all to the Sunday Bhagavatam class. Thank you for presenting yourself. Sundays, usually someone tries to connect me on Sundays, I tell everybody no connections on Sundays because I want to keep that for myself. I just listen and hear and read as much as I can. But I broke my rule because I want to see your transcendental faces and I want to be in your company. So, what's the date today? What is this? 10th of November. I like to just date it so in case someone hears in future. So 10th of November 2024 still, yeah, the plan. And fourth canto, 12th chapter, 26, verse number 26. So Dhruva Maharaj goes back to Godhead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, Anatishtham te pitrabir. Sorry, little linguistic error there. Anasthishtam te pitrabir. Anyerapyangakarhiche. Atishtha jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnur paramam padam. Anatishtham te pitrabir. I'm not quite getting it, am I? Anasthitam te pitrabir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Atishtha jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnur paramam padam. Actually, even the error that I did still complies with the words. Anatishtham still complies with the words. So, okay, I'll stop my linguistics. Anasthitam te pitrabir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Atishtha jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnur paramam padam. Take it away. Anasthitam te pitrabhir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Atishtham jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnur paramam padam. Anasthitam te pitrabhir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Adhistham vandyam. Tadvishnur paramam padam. Anasthitam te pitrabhir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Atishtha jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnu paramam padam. Ladies. Anasthitam te pitrabhir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Atishtha jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnur padamam padam. Anasthitam te pitrabhir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Atishtha jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnur paramam padam. Anasthitam te pitrabhir. Anyairapyangakarhiche. Atishtha jagatam vandyam. Tadvishnur paramam padam. Anastitam, never achieve. So, okay, I can't resist. Anastitam comes into English. So, is very normally used like unable, unstable. The that comes into English when you want to state something as an opposite, it's exactly done in Sanskrit the same way. So unable, unstable, unwise, all this you and that comes into English comes from Sanskrit. And sthiti comes into English as well. State, status, sthiti, situations, status. So every third word in English, there was someone that came to my bookstall yesterday. I promised him, every third word you speak in English, I'll find its root in Sanskrit. He said, are you serious? 21-year-old boy. His name is Saharsha. Nepalese. He's getting an internship in some big multinational company. And he started speaking to me from he wrote a beautiful essay. And he started speaking to me from his essay. And every third word I found him in Sanskrit origin. I was like, whoa. They comes into English. They, They. Doesn't take much. They and they become. Pitrubir, father, by forefathers, comes into English. Pitra becomes fidere, fidere becomes padre, padre becomes father. Matra becomes mother, bhratra becomes brother, shwasur becomes sister, duhitra becomes daughter. How was that? Sound bite, huh? Bit of a sound bite. So all your family members that you call sister, swasur, mother, mata, brother, bhrata, pitra, father, every single family member in your English language comes from Sanskrit. Anya, others. So Anya has a synonym in Sanskrit which is itara. Itara becomes others in English. Itara, others. E doesn't take much. Ignorance, agyan, itara, others. Api, anga. Api, even. Api, even. Anga, Odhruva. So that's interesting. You would think, why did anga has been translated as a dhruva? Anga is like calling my part, like my dear, my part. You are my part. So grandfather is calling his grandson as my part. So my part. And anga becomes angel, angles in English, triangles, part of a tree, angles, angels, all these words, anchor, all these words in English comes from the anga. Karhichit, at any time. Atishtha, please come and live there. Okay, I won't bore you, but that's also in Sanskrit. Jagatam, by the inhabitants of the universe. Vandyam, worshipable. Tat, that. Exactly same words. Tat, that. Same words. Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. Actually, that's even English, but I'll stop my Paramam, supreme. So para becomes in English parachutes, parasails, para-Olympics, all the para, it becomes para. Padam, situation. So path, padam, path, pad, path. Anyway. Okay, call and response. Dear King Dhruva, neither your forefathers nor anyone else before you ever achieved such a transcendental planet. The planet known as Vishnu Loka. Loka becomes location in English, where Lord Vishnu personally resides, is the highest of all. It is worshipable by the inhabitants of all other planets within the universe. Please come with us and live there eternally. So the chapter is Dhruva Maharaj is going back to Godhead. Now we have here a testimony. You understand testimony? We have a recorded testimony here, because usually when people talk about, in any religion, they talk about like going to the heavens. If you may have heard stories of near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, and there's hundreds and hundreds, and I've studied them quite in detail, put it this way, because I do some work for TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium, and I've worked quite on the prototypes, quite a few prototypes. So where did I lose track? NDEs. So when you read these records of the NDEs, there's a lot of description how they transcend their body, and they literally reach to the doors of the, as described by them, heavens. Because currently the most of the transcendental or spiritual world in the world is mostly Christian based. So the language they'll use is obviously Christian based. And they describe, most of the NDEs, they describe they're reaching to these gates of the heaven. And they see on the way of their journey, they'll see their fathers, their like forefathers, like hundreds and hundreds of going back in lineages, like patriarchs, and they even see their pet dogs that died. It's like, wow, that is amazing, isn't it? So here we have testimony of a recorded history who's actually come to a point and achieved what all of you are trying to achieve. What are you here for? Why did you join Krishna consciousness? Because you want go back to Godhead, isn't it? That was the prime motto, that was the prime title of Prabhupada, like 30, 40 years before he started ISKCON. So back to Godhead is a big thing. Now we have a recorded testimony here of someone who's actually achieved it. So if you want a recorded testimony, here is a testimony. So you haven't been picked like guinea pigs or something. You haven't been picked like guinea pigs for collection of numbers in a religious moment. That's not what this is. Because usually when you go outside, I was on books yesterday and the day before, anyway. And I saw just before, when I was wrapping up my stalls, like I won't take names, but there are some religious groups, and I actually spoke to them, and they clearly, without any hesitation, told me that they like to collect numbers. And I asked them, what's the reason that this intense need for collecting numbers? And obviously he gave me a wishy-washy answer, but I said, and he asked me, but you don't seem to, I've seen you for 6 hours or 8 hours straight here, but you don't do like what we are doing. We are out of here, we're just going on faces, but you standing in your position and everybody is kind of coming to you. So don't you have a motive to collect numbers? I said, no. Because trying to collect numbers is kind of a sign of insecurity, because I'm so insecure, I need numbers to be with me, majority. And I was watching this, some students talking to one of the big acharyas in our ISKCON, and the girl was asking questions about historical background of Vaishnavism 5,000 years ago when Krishna was present on this planet. And the psychology I was noting is that being a young child, at least for me, she's a young child. She's 22, 24, but 46, I'm nearly coming to 50s, so she is a young child for me. So my daughter will be in university very soon. So she is a young child for me. So young child, the psychology behind the question, she keeps asking, what she is trying to prove is, She wants to be convinced that the majority of Vaishnava planet were Vaishnavas. She wants to be convinced that majority was Vaishnavas, so she can be convinced if majority follows something, then that is convinced that, okay, I'm in the right path. Do majority always, like, can you actually decide a path of wisdom just because the majority follows? Because a lot of, excuse my language, fools could be following a completely wrong thing and they might look like a majority. Look at the elections. All the leaders that the majority elect, most of the time turn out to be, excuse my language, but anyway, I won't use that word, but very funny people. I was going to say douchebags, but anyway. So, most of them are, okay, I'll say douchebags, right? So, if we count majority, if we want to be convinced by a majority to follow our path, well, I really want to warn you, by having dealt in historics and academics quite a bit, please be very careful. Because a lot of majority fools make a lot of majority wrong decisions. So that is for me not a good matrix. Does majority do this Vaishnavism? You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's not a real matrix, that's not a real measure. You might say, okay, Radhika Prasad, thanks for all your academical approach. So how do we testify, how can we testify that we are in a correct path? How can we do that? So there is something called a self-evident truth. You might have heard this. Have you ever heard of something called a self-evident truth? So in Sanskrit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have you heard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? No, you haven't? Okay, so you're just starting to come in here. Okay. So Lord Krishna, just a brief summary. Lord Krishna advented as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, advented again just to re-establish what he had taught 5,000 years ago. But this personality was here only about approximately 534 years ago, 530. So he introduced what's a world called Swata Pramana. There's a very elaborate discussion between him and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya keeps questioning him, how do I establish that this is the right path? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduces a very, very sophisticated philosophy that is now adopted by big universities like Harvard, Cambridge, Princeton, what's the other one, Oxford. Big universities, they now use a word, something called self-evident truths. Exact same translation for Swata Pramana. Evidence, Pramana, self, Swata. So what do you mean by self-evident? It actually raises the path, this Krishna consciousness path raises up over you and reveals as a self-evident truth where you won't be able to deny. What do I mean by that? Something like, I've given this example hundreds and hundreds of times. When the sun comes up in the day, I don't have to prove to you that the sun is out there. When you love your child, some of your mothers here, I definitely know Manasvi Mataji is a mother. We have mother there. Our Sankirtan Harinam leader's mother there. So, prove mother's love to a child. Naira will say, he's crazy. What are you talking about? What do you mean prove the mother's love to a child? Wouldn't you say it's like, that's the most funniest thing you ever heard? So there's something called a self-evident truth. So what happens is, this Krishna consciousness raises up and reveals over you as so self-evident that you are like, it's like just hitting you like that punching clown in the festivals. Just raises up. You punch and it raises up. Wow! Like you punch and it's like wow. Raises up. It's like Sanatan Dharma. It's a dharma that it's like that punching clown. You keep punch and boom, raises up over you, like self-evidently. You understand? So it's called self-evident truth. This was actually reinstated by a very posh and sophisticated philosopher called Aristotle. I won't go do that all now. Don't panic. Some of you are thinking, when is he going to finish today? If he will. So I'm not going to do Aristotle today, but he mentioned something like that. There comes the path becomes self-evident to you. And that you have to be patient. You have to maintain your wits until it becomes a self-evident revelation. Until it becomes a self-evident. But can we hold our wits? Are we prepared to hold our wits, Ian? You understand? The problem is, don't you agree with me? The problem is, we sometimes struggle to hold our wits. Is that right, Edward? It's very hard. When is it happening? When is it? Show me God. Show me God. Where's God? Where's God? Oh, where's God? Show me God. What do you mean, show me God? You qualify? What about qualification? You can't go up and say, show me Trump. He's just been elected. I want to see, where is Trump? Where is Trump? No, are you qualified? What are you? Have you worked for their party? Have you worked for the Republicans? Do you have any credentials? Do you have credibility to see him? What is your mission in his party? What is your mission statement in his targets, goals? No, I don't have anything. I just want to see him. Get out of here. Get out of here. So what do you mean, show me God, show me God? Well, what about your qualification? What about that? You ever thought about that? Oh, no. So we have a testimony here. So what I was trying to going back to my, I still remember the words, just in case you're thinking, he sometimes forgets his spills. I still remember the verse. So we're talking about, here is a testimony. Here is a testimony where a person has done what you have done, and where a person has achieved what you are aspiring to achieve, to getting onto that transcendental plane. So I was saying in my last class, so there may come a point where you will be in that position. You will be at a verge of getting up onto that plane to the Vaikuntha. Why should you discount? Why should you become so in the name of humbleness? Of course, I am like, humbleness is the prime emblem of us. But the problem I emphasize is, you don't become so humble to the point of you extinguish your identity in Krishna's plan. You don't become so humble that you extinguished your identity in the scheme of Krishna's plan. So there will come a time where you will be waiting in front of that steps of that plane. Sorry, what's your name? Jessica. So, and I remember your name. I remember your name from the last class. Natasha. Whew. Do I get valuable gifts for all this at the end of the class? So Jessica, Natasha, you will be in front of that plane. And why would you want to discount that fact? Why would you want to discount that fact and extinguish the possibility of you playing some kind of significant role in Krishna's strategy, in Krishna's overall scheme? Why would you do that? Would you want to do that? Why? I mean, why? So there will be, don't discount yourself. You are part of Krishna. So Krishna's story will never be complete without mentioning Chandan Charchit, without mentioning Manakrit, without mentioning Ishwareshwar Das, without mentioning Ian. Your name? Rupert. So Krishna's story is not complete without mentioning Rupert. Mamevamsho jivaloke jivaloka sanatana. So you will be at that cusp of that getting onto that plane. And guess what? You turn around. No, you won't. Please don't do that. Don't turn around. Just keep going. That's my humble advice. Just keep going. Just watch to the front. So why am I saying don't turn around? It's like having a bad holiday. There is a documentary of a plane crash that survived in this funny island somewhere in Philippines, which was infested with pirates and like lost militia and pirates. And this plane crashes. There's a documentary. It's a beautiful documentary. And this plane crashes into this island, and it's still intact because this guy, the captain, was quite. I mean, I've never seen a captain like him. He managed to find this muddy road and just lands it here, but crash lands kind of thing. But the plane is still intact. They come out, and then eventually, by the mathematical calculations, the captain figures out this is an island that was infested by pirates. It was like a hideout for all the pirates of that part of the seas. It was somewhere between Philippines and somewhere between some kind of south part of Philippines to Indonesia. There's all this militia and pirates. And then, I don't want to go to the whole story, but as you can imagine, it's a gruesome survival. It's a literally gruesome survival. Finally, the pilot tries to fix the plane, and then he said, in between this battle, between this ghastly war of exchange of military weapons, he somehow manages to get the surviving, some of the dead, whoever survived, get them on the plane, and he's going out. And one passenger, because there was some cash he had left down on the plane, he has left some cash in the bag. And he turns around looking for that cash bag, and the captain says, "Don't look back. Let go the cash. Get in and let me shut that door." So he gets in, shut the door, and they're just out of there. Now the question is, would you go back to that island? Next time, so say it's called Trailblazer Airlines, for just giving a name. So Tailblazer or something. So if because I don't want to take our normal planes. So say it's a Tailblazer, and you've been a passenger in that, and you survived that, and someone comes and offers. You left your cash bag there, full of greenbacks, full of USD greenbacks. Would you want to go back and collect? No, thank you very much. You understand? So, cash bags, no, we don't need that cash bags. It's just paper currency. Just, So, yat gatvana nivartante tad dhama parama mama. Once you get onto that plane, you don't come back. Now, this is the point I want to make. You understand cliches? Cliche? Cliche is a hackneyed, like an overused word. So here, the pilots of the plane that came from Vishnuluka, they're saying something very interesting in the Sanskrit. They say, Tad Vishnum Paramam Padam. We are going to take you, we're going to fly you back out of this tailblazer flight into this supreme abode, which is usually called in most of the spiritual scriptures as an absolute truth. How many times have you heard the word absolute truth? Like 3.7 trillion times? And I said that again. Now, is it okay if I take some time to explain what that really entails, what that really means? Because how many times have you heard Chandra Chandra? Absolute truth, absolute truth. Sometimes the brain becomes numb. You just speed reading. We should have cameras for speed reading. For speeding on cars, there's cameras, they catch the mobile cameras. So I think we need to have some speed cameras for speed reading. After some time, the cliche, you become numb, don't you, Jessica? Like you hear a word so much, like absolute truth, absolute truth, absolute truth, absolute truth. Supreme personality of Godhead, supreme personality of Godhead, absolute truth. And you kind of become numb to this and you start speed reading. Speed reading it. Just get through this today. Just la 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 la, just get through it kind of thing. You understand? But we need to, when you understand what really that means, it might, next time when you read it, it might give you a pause and let that word sink into your heart. So you want me to explain what that means? No extra cost. I don't charge anything extra. Just joking. I'm a volunteer. So you have to put some more coins in the meter, in the parking. then I may explain. So anyway, just joking. I mean, we need to have some fun. Otherwise it becomes... So absolute truth means, what happens is, we have a very vast space in this universe, as you may have already noticed from the NASA encounters and the NASA expeditions. You may have already seen, and Bhagavad point of view, we are something, the diameter is something like 4.6 or 4.3 billion. I mean, excuse me if my mathematics are here and there, but something like that. And here in the purport, Prabhupada says it's, what is it? Light years, namely traveling the speed of would take 1,000 light years. I'll give you a kind of a scope of what we're talking about. Light year means light traveling per second 87,890 miles. Don't ask me why I remember that. So light travels something like 87,890 miles per second. And when that light travels like that for a year, is a distance called light year. Whoa. Whoa. So 1,000 light years means light travels 87,000 miles, 500 miles per second, 60 seconds, 1 minute, yeah? 60 minutes an hour, 24 hours, 365 days. Do the maths. It's a very large distance. So we are talking about this big, large universe. We are currently, it's called ontology, nature of existence. So we have currently used to this planetary system. The gravity, we are not used to. We can take steps without thinking about it. Without thinking the mathematics around it. Do I have enough weight? Can I put the next step? How is my wind going to influence my next step? How are the lights going to influence it? How are the liquids going to... You don't have to think now, because you've been here for a long time and now are conditioned, practically conditioned, and maybe in one sense even obsessed. Now, oh, that's a very hard word. Now, not just conditioned, may even now obsessed with these conditions now. Now, this looks very easy to you. But when you see the discussions of Indra and Vishnu, when they come to have a chat with Prithu Maharaj, they couldn't get used to it straight away. While talking to Prithu Maharaj, Indra and Krishna were actually above the ground. Do you remember? Lord Indra and Krishna, when they were talking to Prithu Maharaj, it's specifically mentioned that they were above, a few inches above the ground. They're still getting used to it. So if Earth has these physical laws, there has to be that there's other planetary systems will have other physical laws. Like sun may have a law where the bodies of that people living in the sun planet can withstand that kind of heat. What to speak of sun? This planet, when you go deep into the ocean, we're talking Pacific Ocean, when you go 16,000 meters or 16 kilometers down into the Pacific Ocean, they say the heat is something like 3,000 degrees Celsius. somewhere like 3 to 6,000 degrees Celsius. 104 degrees, we get a fever. 104 degrees, we need to be taken straight away to the hospital. Now we're talking about 3,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius. And there are living beings there. There are living beings there. So why is it so hard to believe that there could be other living beings in the so-called the 3 moons that they've discovered that are rotating around, revolving and rotating around Saturn? Why is it so hard? Now, why am I saying all this? When we say absolute truth, what we mean is it is ontologically prevailing even in this planet Earth. It has to be a foundational truth on the moon. It has to be a foundation for existence in that 6,000 degrees Celsius under in the Pacific Ocean. It has to be a foundational existence basis for those 3 moons that are rotating around Saturn. It has to be a foundational existence beyond our Milky Way galaxy into the Andromeda galaxy. The next galaxy is Andromeda, I think. Yeah, sure, pretty sure. So we get a view of Milky Galaxy which we are in. So there has to be some reality, there has to be some foundational basis which has to prevail through all these conditions. I use the key word, prevail. There has to be some foundation of existence which needs to prevail through all these different physical laws, such as the deep in the ocean in 3,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius. Up here, today I think is 25, 26 degrees. We love it. 29, we love it in Australia. Don't we? Anything like 36, stinky. But, anywhere between 21 to 26, 29, we love it, don't we? Anything below 21, above 32, So there has to be a foundational basis. There has to be that prevails. Please listen to this word carefully. Prevails. That doesn't die. Because if you don't have a foundational basis that prevails through all these different physical laws, this universe cannot stand together. I can prove this. So, okay, exaggeration. I can demonstrate this. I can demonstrate this, that there has to be something holding together in prevailing through all these physical laws. That is called absolutely prevailing basis, absolutely prevailing truth. That's why we say absolute truth. The real translation has to be absolute reality. But it's very hard when you say that. It can be misperceived in so many ways. So Prabhupada used absolute truth. Because when you say absolute, because sattva is, the word in Sanskrit is sattva. Absolute truth was sattva, something that prevails everywhere. The sattva is actually reality. But if you say reality, it can be very hazy-fazy for misperceptions. So Prabhupada using absolute truth. So absolute truth is something that prevails through all kinds of existential natures. Be it moon, be it Mars, be it Earth, be it Sun, be it Milky Way galaxy, be it Andromeda galaxy. Be it some other universe. There has to be a foundational basis that exists through all these ontologies. That is called Parampadam. Too much? Okay. I'll give you a Sankirtan story. I don't want to put you to sleep. So I was like, oh God, what is this guy doing to us? We just were here to read some Bhagavatam for God's sake. So, Sankirtan story. I was doing books somewhere in, where was I? Maryland. So, don't take my classes as a tirade against other religions. That's not what I mean. But I'm just sharing some stories. And this very strong Christian that came, and he just blasted it. My daughter was only 11 years then. She was only 10 or 11. The whole town could hear. That's how ferocious he was. Just really loud speaker. He didn't need a speaker. He'd be fine without it. Just giving it a tirade, so strong, and so vicious that all the Christians in the town gathered around him, and every single thing they're saying, hallelujah, hallelujah, amen, amen. And I'm just one here standing on the table, and they're throwing dart games at me. And just went on a tirade for like nearly 20 minutes. And my daughter was 10 or 11 years old. She was like, whoa, if this is books distribution, Dad. Anyway, she's still, okay. Anyway, she still distributes books with me. She's 15 years old now. She still goes out with me. But I could see her face, like, if this is books, Dad, I'm going to give it a second thought next Saturday. So just vicious, like just going on. And finally he said to me, I said, what is your grievance? He said, there is no testimony. There is no prediction. There is no prophecy that has come true. I said, wait a minute. What do you mean there's no prophecies? There's no testimonies? Here is a testimony. Here is a prophecy. Narada Muni prophesied that by following this process, you will achieve that parampada. And then we have a testimony. There is a prophecy. Narada Muni comes to him. You follow my path. You follow what I'm giving you, the guidelines. Time, place, circumstances. Sometimes we read the whole Narada's preaching to Dhruva Maharaj. Sometimes we completely forget. He keeps repeating to him 484:53. Sorry. No. 48:53. Sorry. 48:53 or 54. Don't ask me why I remember all these words. He specifically says time, desha, kala, paristhiti, time, place, circumstances. You have to tailor these guidelines, these bhakti yoga, time, place, circumstances. You have that free, you have been given that liberty, you have been provided that intelligence to tailor it for time, place and circumstances. If you do this correctly, according to the time, place, circumstances, he prophesizes, you will get that plane and you will get out of here. And here you have a testimony. So there is a prophecy and there is a testimony. So wait a minute. So I showed him this. I mean, Bhavishya Puran. There is a Puran, we call Bhavishya Puran. They're full of prophecies. Go to the 12th canto of Bhagavatam. It describes exactly our situation on this planet now. Marriages on agreements, just because of sexual attractions. Stop a baby if you don't like it. I mean, I don't mean to start that pro-choice thing. I'm not saying I'm pro-choice or not pro-choice. I'm just saying, yeah? Anybody listening there, please. I'm not going into that politics. I'm just stating that there is a statement that just mixing men and women mixing together and leaving them whenever they want. Marriage is just based on sexual attractions. No study without any discipline, any disciplines and parampara. I mean, come on, Baba, am I giving you a bump steer or is it all in the 12th canto? I'm not giving you a bump steer, am I? Shriman? Narsingha? Am I giving you a bump steer? No. We've read this hundreds and hundreds of times, haven't we? So here we have 12th canto, here you have this testimony, you have a whole Bhavishya Puran, you'll be oh my God, you'll be blown away. So you have prophecies and you have testimony. And this is promising. This is promising that you have not been used as a guinea pig to collect some numbers in a religious movement. Is that a relief for you, Jessica? Isn't it a relief? that you haven't been chosen as a guinea pig to collect some numbers for our to protect our insecurity. I can feel secure. I can feel secure because there is a majority, and somehow today we've collected one more number into our movement. Now I can feel secure about it. We made one more guinea pig. This is not that. We're not collecting guinea pigs to feel ourselves secure. That's not the point. You have a testimony and you are being prepared. Now this is the question I ask. I always ask. Why is it so hard to believe that there is a transcendental conscious world which is based on consciousness? So your body is running based on your consciousness. Is that okay? Is that a self-evident truth by now for you? Because the body dies and even within the body, you already died, multiply your age divided by 7 times, you already died so many times. So 46, right? Just put it roughly, 42, 7 times what? 7 6 are 42. So 6 times I've already died in this life. Did you know that? Did you know that? 6 times you've already died. I've already died on this body. It's a medical truth. All the cells are in our body, there's about 38 trillion cells. I've counted them. Okay? In your body, there's approximately how many? 38 trillion cells. Trust me, Rupert, I counted them. So 38 trillion cells in your body, every 7 years, they got to completely replenish. And you get a completely new set of cells. It's a medical fact. Come on. So, if I'm 46 now, I've already died 6 times, I'm on the way to dying another 7th time. So you already died, so what's the big deal about reincarnation? Oh, Hindu mythology, oh, reincarnation. You already died 6 times, mate. You're on the way to dying one more time. Well, start preparing for it. Get a coffin, for God's sake. Make sure you have, what is that insurance? The coffin insurance, funeral insurances. You understand? So I'm on my way, this body, of facing another death of my body in 46 or 49, 3 years' time. What's the big deal about reincarnation? I don't get it. So as you can see, your body is obviously, clearly, something in your body is prevailing through these deaths every 7 years. What could that be? So the neuroscientists are saying, like Michael Egnor, Mark Soames, I can give you lots. Anyway, so John Lennox, physicist, mathematician, we've got like big scholarly people saying something is surviving this death of the body. So it's consciousness. So here is the question I wanted to ask you, just in case you're having some troubles believing about trusting this transcendental world that's awaiting you. Just in case you have some suspicions in yourself, is there actually that flight coming to you? Just in case you have some doubts, I want to clarify that there is a plane going to come to you. I want to clarify that. Will you be happy if I clarified that? How many are you happy? There's a plane that will be waiting for you when your so-called body dies. That's a comfort? Okay. This is the question I ask. If the consciousness is primary, listen to this carefully. If your consciousness is primary, if your Atma is generating your consciousness, and this whole world is being run by your consciousness, by the consciousness around prevailing outside you, why is it so hard to believe that consciousness can have its own world with its own laws? Now think about this very carefully. Question your mind this very, very subtly, politely, and carefully. Because mind is like a monkey. Mind is like a monkey. It's like jumping you around, bouncing you around like a game ball. Now you have to subtly question your mind. If consciousness is primary, and if consciousness is running this whole planet in front of you while you're surviving through it, why is it so hard, Natasha, to believe that there could be, consciousness could run its own world, Satchit Ananda, a Chinmaya Ananda, a Satchit Ananda, a world on its own? If a pilot comes in a plane, flies a plane from Singapore to here, and he's a layover, they say, right? And a 3-day layover, for example. So why is it so hard to believe someone comes from Singapore? Why is it so hard to believe that he can go back to a Singapore which is his original position, which runs his current life? In the same way, if consciousness is running this planet, is practically mechanizing everything on this planet, why is it so hard to believe for conscious entities and consciousness to have a world and a universe of their own called Goloka Vrindavan? Why is it so hard? There is something called, we are accused, when I say we are saying about spiritual organizations, religion people. We are accused of blind faith. Are we? That we are all superstitious, blind faith? You got that anywhere, Bhava, on the streets? This is just some blind faith superstition? You walked on the street as much as me. I mean, you're younger than me, and you've beaten me by miles, literally. Thousands of miles, literally. Yeah? Have you come across this? Like calling you like some superstitious myth? Like blind faith? Now I will tell you something very interesting. If they say blind faith is dangerous, I say this: blind doubt is as dangerous. If you say to me blind faith is dangerous, I say to you blind doubt is as dangerous. If you're sitting in a plane and the pilot says, "Oh, excuse me, gentlemen, we are about 38,000 feet above the sea level, and we're causing some turbulence here. I'd like to buckle up your seatbelts." Nah, I don't believe that. Hey. Buckle up, for God's sake. No, it's some voice. What do you mean some voice? There's a man sitting. No, I don't believe. What do you mean by that? You don't believe? You have a serious disease, for example. Oh, God forbid, you'll never have any. I'm just saying, someone has a serious disease. And I find a medicine for it. It worked well with my aunt. I'm saying a true story. And it worked with my aunt. And I bring that, and because it was in our family blood, like it happens. It's hereditary, some of the diseases. It's a deadly disease. And I bring to my nephew, and who is facing that deadly disease. Say, this worked for my aunt. I actually took her to this place. And it's an Ayurvedic medicine. In the long term, it worked. Here it is. No, I don't believe you. I doubt if this is... Maybe that's just, that's just some salt and sugar. You mixed it up and rolled it into balls. Blind doubt, if not more, is as dangerous as blind faith. So, why should you be credited so much for your intelligence? Why should you be loaded with this credibility for your intelligence just because you doubt everything? You're an intelligent person. I doubt the Krishna. I doubt God. Okay, I doubt spiritual organization. I doubt it, so I'm intelligent. Why should it be like that? I don't get it. So blind doubt is as dangerous as blind faith. Does that make sense so far? Yeah? Did I read the purport or no? Did I read the purport? Oh, I'll just do it quickly. So I might have covered it, but anyway, when Dhruva Maharaj went to perform austerities, he was very determined to achieve a post, never dreamt. I covered that. His father was Uttanapada. I covered the massive universe. The associates of Lord Vishnu reminded him that the forefathers, he would be going to the planet that was never achieved by Jnanis, Karmis or Yogis. Jnanis and Karmis or Yogis, that will take me a whole hour to go through. So I won't go through today, maybe some other time. But there are hardly any pure devotees. Transcendental planet known as Vishnu Loka is especially meant for devotees, not for karmis, jnanis and yogis. Yeah, I need a whole hour for that, so I won't go into that today. Great rishis or demigods can hardly approach Brahmaloka as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Brahma's duration of life is so long that it is difficult to estimate even the one day of his life. So I've talked about the estimations of the long spans in the universe. The Lord says, Yadgatvana nivartante tadhama paramamama. I spoke about that. If you had a bad holiday, would you go there again? No. Trailblazer, next time you see, oh, thank you very much. And Dhruva Maharaj was reminded, you are going in our company to that planet from which no one returns to this material world. Yeah, again, the bad holiday. They cannot the material current scientists are attempting to go to moon or other planets, but they cannot go there because the physical laws is completely different there. You need qualifications. You can't gate crash into city hall like town hall here. For God's sake, how can you gate crash into the heavens? You're expecting to just gate crash yourself. No, it doesn't work like that. What about qualification? You understand? So did I completely lose you guys, or we are okay today? Yeah? I spoke about that light years. By material calculations, traveling at the speed of light, it would take 40,000 light years. I spoke about that. By mechanical process, we are unable to reach the topmost planet of this universe. But the process of bhakti yoga, as executed by Maharaj Dhruva, can give one the facility not only to reach other planets within the universe, but also to reach beyond this universe to the Vishnu Loka planet. We have outlined this in our small booklet called Easy Journey to Other Planets. So what happens is, I'll just do a little spoiler for you here. What happens in the future verses is that, well, Dhruva Maharaj is about to step onto this planet, the death actually comes to meet him. It could be personally, I think it could be an allegory that death has to come because the body needs to be left. The body was given by the planet Earth. It has to be returned. Like you go to the skiing fields, you get the boots and the skis and the gears. When you're coming back, you got to give it back to them. You can't, oh, I'm such a good skier, I'm going to take them with me. Hey. You can't walk like that when you go to your office. Imagine walking in the skis and boots in the office room. No, you got to give it back. So when you're passing Earth, you got to give this body back to planet Earth. That is going to happen. We can't be silly thinking that I want to take this body with me. So stepping on the death, the head of death is like that. He's leaving this body. Now he's got a completely effulgent, transcendental, resplendent, original Atma conscious entity. Now why is that so hard to believe that? Please give me some, okay, I'll stop here. Please, I beg you, give me some challenges. Why is it so hard to believe Ishwara Das? Not you. You are a convinced disciple of His Holiness Devananda Swami Maharaj. So, just in case he hears this class, you don't want to dispute that. No, joking. Joking. I'm just messing with you guys. Yes, Edward, throw me a challenge. Oh, very good. Good question, Edward. I like you. Very good question. Well, we have in the early 20th century, the whole material science hit this big break, like crash landed. Did you know what was it? There's a gentleman named Niels Bohr. He prophesied and he pioneered what's called quantum physics. You heard of that? Spooky action of quantum physics? You heard that, Bhava? You heard that, Shriman? Spooky action of quantum physics? So I'll give you a little, just quickly do this. The spooky action of quantum physics is that what we think the wave, solid, when you actually go look with the eyes of quantum physics, there's no particle. Particles becomes waves and waves are becoming particles. It's called a double slit experiment. I'm not throwing, blowing smoke up your asanas. What I'm seriously, you can Google this. It's called double split experiment. It was done, double split experiment. It was done somewhere like 1963 or something like that. What happens is they shoot these two atoms through these double splits. And when they come to the observing point, the atoms split because they hit the brick wall, and to make it through, they diffuse into wave, and then after making it through, they become an atom again. They become a particle again. So what you're seeing here, it looks to us, from our physical point of view, the way the body is made to us, this looks like a solid particle hitting a brick wall. But from the eyes of quantum physics, the spooky action of quantum physics is the waves are becoming particles and particles are becoming waves, always interchanging. Now, who is facilitating? How is this being facilitated? And the spooky action of quantum physics is they split this atom, electron, and when they split the atom, it becomes this electron and this proton. Okay, I'll stop all this before you start throwing things at me. So, Nera's got a big bottle there. So, I want to avoid throwing that at me. So, what I mean to say is, what happened is they beat this atom, they smashed it, they split into electron and proton. They took one to the other side of Earth. You can please see it until I'll be finished. This will be a very painless surgery. So you can take a seat, please. So what happens is they blasted this atom, and now you got three things: nucleus, electron, and proton. They have an electron here, and they got a proton on the other side of the planet. Guess what? As this electron here is changing, the other side of the atom is also transforming and mutating based on what we are doing to this here. So, do we seriously think that what we see as a particle is really a particle in our physical sense? Quantum physics has smashed the whole thing up. Metaphysics and quantum physics. So, I can go through the quarks and the atoms and everything in this microphone, and I can show you that the way you're feeling this, it takes a lot more than physical laws for you to be able to get a comprehensive experience of this mic here. There's going much, much, much more than physical laws for you. Just me sitting here, comprehending Bhava on that end, Naira on this end, and I keep forgetting the Mataji's name at that end. Raghupati Priya, yes. Oh yes, how can I forget you? Okay, yeah. So we have Raghupati Priya Devidasi there. And we have his Bhavana right at the end of here, and we have Manakrit in the middle there. We have Jessica and Natasha here. There is so much more than physical laws going on here for me to be able to comprehend each person, each languages, each vernaculars, each of you's physical laws, each of your dress codes, colors, and putting your languages together, your subtle communication linguistics together. Sometimes you may say yes, sometimes you say, yeah, yes. There's a difference between both. I said the same thing. You said the same thing. You said, yes, Prabhu. Or you said, yes, Radhika Prasad. Or yes, Radhe. That's a short form. Or you say, yeah, yes. What's the difference? The first time is polite, acknowledging. The second one is sarcastic. You don't want to say yes, but you're saying, yeah, sure, just get the hell out of my face. Yeah, yes. I said the same thing, but you made so much difference in those two expressions. How did that happen? It's not mechanistic. So, talking about linguistics, talking about communications, talking about the particles here, there's so much more going on, just physical laws that we are conditioned and obsessed with. You remember this word. We are obsessed with these physical laws. Not just conditioned, we are obsessed with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, is it really physical law that you're seeing? Maybe, maybe not. You understand? So that transcendental plane is waiting for you guys. You haven't been picked as guinea pigs for collecting some spiritual numbers. So have I given you something to a solace, a pacification, a kind of relief that God, we're not just some guinea pigs, and there is that Vaikuntha transcendental plane coming for you, Chandan Church. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Is that a relief? Ishwareshwar Das. Is that a relief? There will be a transcendental plane, there will be a death coming at you, and you will happily step over it, leave this physical body, get into that plane, and and you'll say to the planet, get me the goddamn hell out of here. Is that a relief, Ian? Is that a relief, Jessica? Is that a relief, Raghupati Priya Devidasi? Yeah? Is it a relief, Anamika? So, unless there are any questions, I can stop here now. Are you guys happy, or did I completely? Please, Naira. Sure. Just make sure to give your credit card details to. Just joking. Just joking. Just joking. Based on what your consciousness was at the end of this journey, based on how your yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatanti kalevaram. So depending on what you developed, what kind of vigyan, revelations that you have developed and experienced as the self-evident truth. Based on that, you will be transported into the next. But the point is, Krishna says in 6th chapter at the end of it, Pura abhyasena tenaiva hriyate yavasopisa jignasurapi yogasya. So he says, what he says is Pura abhyasena. Krishna gives you, because he's in your heart as a soul, super soul, he gives you that potency to remember all your sadhana. It's not like you won't remember Naira, because it will be so confusing if you remember Naira. Because you don't want in the next life to start acting like Naira and confuse all your friends. So you know what I mean? Maybe, So but your sadhanas potentially transform as a spark in your heart goes through, and then that eventually bursts into your next life. Is that a relief? Nothing is lost. It's like pakka term deposit. It's a pakka term deposit, just increasing every day. So it won't be lost. A revelation, a sakshatkar, it's called sakshatkar in Sanskrit. A revelation, a self-evident truth, a sakshatkar can never curl back. Consciousness will hold and take you through that. It doesn't curl back into a bird state again. It doesn't happen. Anandambudhi vardhanam. It keeps increasing. So in the next life, if you don't get into that plane, you will be provided a better opportunity where you will. Exactly like Ajamila. He was provided the next opportunity, then now he makes it pakka the next life, and then Ajamila is now in front of the plane again. So that transcendental plane is awaiting you. And please be convinced and relieved that you're not guinea pigs here. Is that okay? You happy? Yes, please. Everybody. Krishna is samoham sarva bhuteshu name dheshtosti na priya. Yeah? Krishna is samoham sarva bhuteshu. I'm equal to everyone. Doesn't matter. Depending on ye yathamam prapadhyante tam sataya bhajamyaham. As you proceed towards him, he accepts you in that way. So there is no shortchanging you. If you give me $100 bill and the product costs $50, you will get your 50 back. So there's no shortchanging you. There's no such thing like that. Sri Rangam, have you been to Sri Rangam? Okay, beautiful place. It's like beautiful. When Krishna gets up 4 o'clock in the morning and they open the curtains, you know who's the first person to do dandavats to him? Anybody knows? Very good. You know, you've been there? You are from Sri Lanka? Nitai Gaur Premanand. So, yeah, good catch. The first person to do the dandavats in front of the deity is an elephant. And then a cow comes and turns around with the tail at Krishna, because that's like the Lakshmi Devi's udder is there. The milk is considered as the Godhana. Godhana is the wealth of the milk. And she's showing the udder of her, a cow is showing a udder, a bull is showing her backwards. And then the elephant is, and then there's a horse. Why is a horse? Because Ranganatha is ready to go for battle to protect his devotees. And over the temple dome, the Ranganatha is in battle. It's called Paravasudeva. Now usually you see Krishna's chakra is like this, right? In this case, the Krishna's chakra is vertical like this. And there is a horse. So what it means is, I'm ready to go on the battle to protect my devotees. Who's troubling my devotees? Who's troubling my devotees? Who's troubling my devotees? I'm ready. You know, slit your throat, you prick. So anyway, so that's a very, you know that, right? The Paravasudeva on the temple, yeah. And his chakra is vertical, not round normally. You seen that? I have pictures on my phone. I can show you. If anybody wants to have a look at the phone pictures on my phone. So, why did I say that? Anyway, I'll stop there. So yeah, here is elephant. Right, that's what I was saying. You asked. Elephant has an opportunity to provide dandavats in front of Sri Ranganatha, and everybody, her name is Andal, and anybody, thousands of people walking in the temple, as soon as they see that, the elephant, they provide full dandavat pranam, because she is considered, that elephant is considered, Andal is considered straight from the spiritual world. No difference between a Nitya Siddha and that elephant. Elephant. You asking about demigods. I'm talking about elephants. I've given you, like, you asked for, I gave you 2 for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1. Today is the, Black Friday or Boxing Day sale going on today. Okay, I might have completely lost you guys because you came in the middle. If you had come a little earlier, I could have helped you put some perspective. But all I can say is, on the way out, have you guys read Bhagavad Gita yet or not? You have? Very good. What's your name? Huh? Diya. You guys? Oh, come on. Give me a break. You going to get a copy on your way out? Read 4 pages a day. Get a Bhagavad Gita. Read 4 pages a day. 4 pages a day keeps the doctor away. Can you say it? Say it with me. 4 pages a day. Say it. 4 pages a day. 4 pages a day keeps the doctor away. 4 pages a day. Yeah? We're not selling them as like gimmicks or something. People just chip in a donation, whatever you can. You look like students or something. Yeah, just chip in something. Just something. But please, for God's sake, get a copy of Bhagavad Gita. I was a student like you when I came to Sydney. I was 21 years old. 2000, before the millennium. And I just bumped into devotees in Bondi Beach and they give me a Bhagavad Gita. Now I read it 62 times and it still feels like I just started it. It's like so much clarity, so much clarity. Yeah? You're going to get a copy of, yeah? You're going to get a copy of Bhagavad Gita on the way out today? You have? You have it? You're going to get a copy on the way out. Yeah? No price. Just chip in something and take it. Or if you can't afford, just take it. But keep it as your... People ask me, we can't take care of Gita. And I say, no, you don't have to take care of Gita. Gita will take care of you. I always get this objection. Oh, we have to take care of this book. No, you don't take care of this book. This book will take care of you. Now, is that a good friend? Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Anandakoti Vaishnavindaki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru Gauranga. So Diya, and what's your name? The next person? Kirtana. Wow, we are big fan of Kirtana here. Do you know that? Sankirtana. You? Heyman. You? Chirag. Very good names. Where are you guys from? Bangalore. Kannada bartada? Sol bartada. ಮಾತಾಡ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ Bangaloreans are very good, very intelligent people. I know that because I lived in Bangalore and I have quite a few relatives. So please, Kirtana, please get a Gita, make it your friend. Yeah, you don't have to take care of Gita. Gita will take care of you. Yeah? And 4 pages a day keeps the... Very good. Hare Krishna.
Acceptance of the situation. So most of the times what will happen, we will have some plan. If our plans are aligned to Krishna's plan, things will go properly. But if our plans are not aligned to Krishna's plan, what will happen? Our plans will fail, Krishna's
Thank you
plans
very
will.
much.
Then what will happen? We get angry, right? If things are not happening according to... So, but what is the main thing? We need to accept the situation. Krishna is the controller, right? He is the main proprietor of everything. When you know Krishna is the cause of all causes, right? When you know that fact, when you accept the situation, you can overcome this anger. And tendency to enjoy, that is another factor. If we try to enjoy, again, if you are unable to enjoy, that leads to anger, right? See, if you see the 6th canto,